गोपीजना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा रस बिहारी राधा रस बिहारी राधे जय जगन्नाथ बलदेव मैया सुभद्रा जय जगन्नाथ बलदेव मैया सुभद्रा जय राधे गोविंद जय राधे गोविंद जय राधे गोविंद जय राधे राधे जय गोपाल देवा गोपाल देवा गोपाल देवा जय गोपाल देवा जय गौरनिताय 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 जय गौरनिताय जय सीताराम लक्ष्मण भक्त हनुमान जय सीताराम लक्ष्मण भक्त हनुमान जय नृसिंहदेव नृसिंहदेव जय नृसिंहदेव जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय पंचतत्व जय पंचतत्व पंचतत्व जय पंचतत्व जय सद्गोस्वामी जय सद्गोस्वामी जय सद्गोस्वामी जय सद्गोस्वामी जय गुरु परंपरा जय गुरु परंपरा जय गुरु परंपरा जय गुरु परंपरा जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव गुरुदेव Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev. जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतश श्रीमद् भक्ति स्वरूप दामोदर स्वामी श्रीपाद गुरु महाराज की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतश श्रीमद् अभय चरणारविंद भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्री गुरुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतश श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की जय। श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। श्री मथुरा धाम की जय। श्री द्वारका धाम की जय। पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गौरमंडल नवदीप मायापुर धाम की जय। गंगा मई यमुना मई की जय। भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। समवेद भक्तवंद की जय। हिदाय गौर प्रमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Just give me 2 minutes. Just open this. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye. Nashtaprayeshu abhatteshu nityam bhagavata sevaya. Bhagavati ruttama shloke bhakti bhavati naistiki. Grantha Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Thai Gaura Pramanande Hari Hari Bol. So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto, chapter 19, verse 17 and 18. Text 17. Patim cha paraya bhaktya mahapurusha chetasa priyastastir upanamet prema shila swayam patihi vibruyat sarva karmani Patniya Uchavachanicha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Accepting her husband as the representative of the Supreme Person, a wife should worship him with unalloyed devotion by offering him prasada. The husband, being very pleased with his wife, should engage himself in the affairs of his family. Purport. The family relationship of husband and wife should be established spiritually according to the process mentioned above. Should be established spiritually according to the process mentioned above. Text 18. Kritam ekatarnapi dampatyor ubayorapi patnyam kuryat anarhayam patir etat samaitah. Translation. Between the husband and wife, one person is sufficient to execute this devotion service. Between the husband and wife, one person is sufficient to execute this devotional service. Because of their good relationship, both of them will enjoy the result. Therefore, if the wife is unable to execute this process, the husband should carefully do so, and the faithful wife will share the result. Purport: the relationship between husband and wife is firmly established when the wife is faithful and the husband sincere. Then, even if the wife, being weaker, is unable to execute devotion service with her husband, if she is chaste and sincere, she shares half of her husband's activity. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashlakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Sarupa Damodara Swamiti Namane Namasad Bhaktamanaye Manipurudbhavaya Prabhupadala Sadvani Prachara Niratayate. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Pachatya Desatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Sorry. So today, this two verses speak about the Grahastha Ashram, how the husband and wife should conduct oneself in Grahastha Ashram. We should be very, very clear in this, about this, that it is talking about not any material family or husband-wife relationship that we normally see in our material world. This is talking about an ideal Varnashrama, dharma-based Grahastha Ashram. Now in the first verse, Prabhupada translate, accepting her husband as a representative of the Supreme Person, a wife should worship him with unalloyed devotion by offering him prasada. So this point has been, we have been discussing about this point, how the husband becomes the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, so continuing in the same mood, what is the duty of the wife? If really the husband has those qualities of being the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then how the wife should conduct herself? Okay. So here very simple word is given, that she should worship him with unalloyed devotion. Of course, unalloyed devotion. When we use this unalloyed devotion, we don't use this word, whimsically anywhere. We use it to the Supreme Personality of Godhead or to the spiritual master. So here, here the husband is considered as good as spiritual master. If you go in that thinking, then here the husband is considered as good as spiritual master for the wife. Therefore, she should provide a wonderful environment for the whole family, including the husband, children, and whoever is present in this family, in that family. She should provide such an environment, facilitate the family for the whole family to grow in Krishna consciousness. So what does that mean? It means simple activities like, as let us not take anything out of context from here. As it is mentioned here, in this context, we'll go by that what Bhagavatam wants to convey to us. Let us try to understand that being in the Grahastha Ashram, the wife's duty is to provide this environment to the family to grow spiritually. So here it is mentioned that she should offer prasada. That means it is not mentioned she should cook and give it to her husband. Okay, make nice food and give it to her husband. She should cook for Krishna. The point is very important. The hidden thing here is she should cook for Krishna. Her mood while cooking is that she's cooking for Krishna, for the satisfaction of Krishna. And then when Krishna is satisfied, he gives his remnants as prasada. That prasada should be offered to the husband. Okay. So, and also what else? This is for the internal part, food for the soul, prasada. Now, externally what she can do by keeping things clean in the house, in the ashram, okay, ensuring that everything is pure, So this kind of a small, simple things, can be provided by the wife. By doing these activities, she's always in the mood that I want my family to be growing in spiritual consciousness, growing in Krishna consciousness. So I am doing all these things for that purpose. I mean, she should not even think that I'm doing this for that purpose. That is bad. But the mood should be, she should be executing that. As I always say, the moment you are good, I mean, if you are good, the moment you know that you are good, there starts the problem. If you are a devotee, the moment you think I have become a devotee, then it starts a problem. There starts the problem. Okay. So automatically that mood will come. That mood will get into ourselves. You all must have experienced this, glimpses of this. That when you really take up this Krishna consciousness, the process of Krishna consciousness, the process of Krishna conscious culture, then it automatically sets in. So, how you can see that? Not from yourself. Of course, it will happen for yourself. But looking at other devotees, how nicely by performing these activities, by looking at another Krishna conscious family, how wonderfully they are executing these duties, they are conducting themselves, growing in spiritual consciousness. Okay, by appreciating that, by following that, simply follow. Don't expect that you will become, like that. Keep following it. Keep following it. The center point here should be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You are serving your husband because your husband is serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay. So this mood is Very important. So next what happens? Now it comes to the turn of husband. Prabhupada writes, the husband being very pleased with his wife, who's wonderfully taking care of the family so nicely, should engage himself in the affairs of the family. So affairs of the family means everything, all the affairs, whatever you can think of. But in a Grahastha ashram, all the affairs of the family will be focused and pointed towards the service of the Lord. Okay, he can peacefully execute his devotional service. Okay, this is very important. Why this has to happen? Unless you are present in that platform, unless the husband is present in that platform, he has no right to take service from the wife who is spiritually better placed, who has a better mood of serving the Supreme Lord. So that is why I know this has to always be there. You have to grow, she will grow. You have to grow, she will grow, so that the whole family grows, the children grows in Krishna consciousness. This is very, very important. Okay, so Prabhupada writes in the purport, the family relationship of husband-wife should be established spiritually. It should be established spiritually to perfect in this human form of life, to perfect in this ashram. The ashrams, varnashrama, is given for a particular purpose. We will see that in this shloka, next shloka, when we come to the next shloka. So the family relationship of husband and wife should be established spiritually according to the process mentioned above. So Prabhupada writes. So if you really go deep into this, there is a lot of things that will come up if you meditate on this one sentence Prabhupada has written. The family relationship of husband and wife should be established spiritually. The focus should be the Supreme Lord. The focus should be the service to the Supreme Lord. Unless that is there in the center, everything is a waste. And when we talk of ashram, this is the rule of the ashram. Okay. Now, let us move to the next translation. Between the husband and wife, one person is sufficient to execute this devotion service. It's a wonderful statement. It's a new information actually. We have been always talking about husband doing something and 50% going to the wife. But if you see this sentence, between the husband and wife, one person is sufficient to execute this devotion service. Because of their good relationship, both of them will enjoy the result. So it may be applicable in any association. If you are having friends, if you are, you have your friend, when a similar situation can be created between the two friends will grow in Krishna consciousness. Okay. Even if one person does it nicely, the other person automatically gets induced. Okay. The culture gets induced into the other person. Because of their good relationship, both of them will enjoy the result, Rupa says. So wonderful it is. Therefore, if the wife is unable to execute this process, now caveat comes. In case the wife is not able to execute this process, the husband should carefully do so. And the faithful wife, again, another caveat, condition. It's not simply wife. Prabhupada, every word has a meaning. There is a purpose of having any word in this translation and purpose, Prabhupada's purpose. So, and the faithful husband will share the result. Okay. Now let us read the purport. The purport Prabhupada says, the relationship between husband and wife is firmly established when the wife is faithful and the husband sincere. So wonderful. Our culture is so wonderful. No looking down upon one person, no looking down upon the gender. Nothing. It is so encompassing. Our Krishna conscious culture is so encompassing, so inclusive. Sometimes we tend to bring our own ideas and thoughts, and we look down upon other ashrams, we look down upon other social orders and the spiritual orders, which is not necessary. The whole ashrama system, varnashrama system, is established by the Supreme Lord for the harmonious conduct of the society, functioning of the society. Okay. So, then Prabhupada further writes, then even if the wife being weaker, psychophysically, the nature of women is they are weaker physically, mentally. We can see when given the same situation, it's practical. It is not to put anybody down, but that is how they are created. There are some animals also, there are some weaker animals. Looking at the human being, they will run away. There are very ferocious animals. Looking at the human being, they'll come to eat him up. These are all different consciousness, different yonis. So the women are made in a particular way to be tender, to be delicate. By being that way, so they tend to be a little bit weaker. So does it mean the other stronger species should show their force on them? No. This is condemned. Okay. So he is unable to execute devotion service with her husband. Even if the wife being weaker is unable to execute devotion service with her husband, if she is chaste and sincere, she shares half of the husband's activity. Prabhupada writes in the beginning, anyone can execute this, but because of this reason, the husband can take over, and automatically half of it will go to the wife. Okay, so this is a wonderful system. This Varnashrama system is so wonderful, and this system we still see today in our corporates, still existing. Unless this kind of a system exists, it is very difficult for the world to move on. So this is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 2nd chapter, 13th verse. Atapumbir dvijashrestha varnashrama vibhagashaha swanstitasya dharmasya samshiddhi haritoshanam. The translation goes like this. O best among the twice born, it is therefore concluded that the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging the duties prescribed in one's own occupation according to caste division and orders of the life. Varnashrama vibhagasha. Whichever social order you are belonging to, whichever spiritual order you are belonging to, being in that ashram and perfecting in that ashram is the best way. Okay? And what do you mean by perfection? Samsiddhir aritoshanam. To please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is what is the Srila Sripada always says, to achieve excellence in the human form of life. What is spirituality? Spirituality means to achieve excellence in the human form of life. To achieve perfection in the human form of life. So it is applicable for the individual, for the family, any ashram. The ultimate goal is to perfect in Krishna consciousness. Achieve perfection. You got this human form of body, human life, to achieve this perfection. This alone gives you the opportunity, not any other bodies, not any other species. Okay. Now I'll read this purport. It's a wonderful purport. We all should know. It is very much relevant to the sloka, today's sloka. Human society all over the world is divided into 4 castes and 4 orders of life. The 4 castes are the intelligent caste, the martial caste, the productive caste, and the laborer caste. These castes are classified in terms of one's work and qualification and not by birth. Then again, there are 4 orders of life, namely the student life, the householder's life, the retired life, and the devotion life. In the best of interest of human society, in the best of the interest of the human society, there must be such divisions of life. Therefore, otherwise, no social institution can grow in healthy state. Prabhupada writes, this is the reason Varnashrama is established. And if you are following Varnashrama, if you are in that ashrama strictly, then what is recommended, how the husband and wife should conduct themselves to grow spiritually is mentioned. Some of those points are mentioned in these 2 slokas. The whole of Vrata, the Pumsavana Vrata that is mentioned here, and Kashyap Muni, whatever what you call instructions he gives to Diti is this, that what she should do, what she should not do, taking this position of the spiritual master, so that the whole family grows spiritually. Okay. So we are in that stage. We are getting to know more and more about this Grastha Ashram. Okay. Otherwise, no social institution can grow in a healthy state. And in each and every one of the above mentioned divisions of life, the aim must be to please the supreme authority of the personality of Godhead. The institutional function of human society is known as the system of Varnashrama Dharma, which is quite natural for the civilized life. The Varnashrama institution is constructed to enable one to realize the absolute truth. It is not for artificial domination over one division over another. This is what I was telling. Now we tend to do that. The stronger ones in terms of spiritually stronger or materially stronger, they tend to take dominion over the other weaker sections, weaker class of the society, which is not at all recommended. Okay, Prabhupada. So it is not for the artificial domination of one division over another. When the aim of life, that is realization of absolute truth, is missed by too much attachment to indriya priti or sense gratification, as already discussed herein before, the institution of Varnashrama is utilized by selfish men to pose an artificial predominance over the weaker section. In the Kali Yuga or in the age of quarrel, this artificial predominance is already current, but the sanest section of the people know it well, that the divisions of caste and orders of life are meant for smooth social intercourse and high thinking of self-realization, and not for any other purpose. What else we need? So this aspect has been nicely exemplified by many of the acharyas. If you see in our parampara also, one acharya, yes, acharya, our Bhaktivedanta Thakur, being in the Grahastha Ashram, for a longer time. Later on, he took sannyas. But you see how wonderfully he is an acharya. The family life was never disturbed. Of course, he had a second marriage because the first wife died. Okay, so these are, if you say, take Sant Tukaram, till the end, he was a Grahastha. So there is not that, being in Grahastha Ashram, he cannot grow spiritually. Yes, but when you are Grahastha ashram tells you to do certain things. Do this, 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 this. After this, you leave. Okay. But wherever you are, Grihata ko vanata ko sada hari bole dako suke duke bulo nako vadane hari nama bolo re gai gaura madhushore grihitako vanetako. You know, I was this thinking, this thought came to my mind. Grihitako, grahastha ashram mein raho, vanetako, vanaprastha mein raho. Wherever you are, you can take, meaning. Okay. So whichever ashram you are in, Sada Hari Bole Dako, that is the purpose. That should be the purpose. That should be the aim. Okay. Now, this is also confirmed in another shloka. How situated in the ashram, social order, or the spiritual order, wherever you are in, you can execute devotional service. This is again confirmed by another verse. Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 14th chapter and 3rd verse. Okay. This Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quotes this verse very often in Chaitanya Charitamrita. It is quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita, sorry. The sloka goes like this. Jnana prayasam udapasya namanteva jivanti sanmukharitam bhavadiya vartam sthana stitaha shrutigatam tanuvan manovir ye prayaso ajita jito api asi tastri lokyam. What it means? Those who, even while remaining situated in their established social positions, throw away the process of speculative knowledge and with their body, words and mind offer all respects to the descriptions of your personality and activities, dedicating their lives to these narrations which are vibrated by you personally and by your pure devotees, certainly conquer your lordship, although you are otherwise unconquerable by anyone within 3 worlds. Such a wonderful, profound message here. Sthana stitaha shrutigatam. Staying wherever you are. Sthana stitaha. Whichever order you are in, whichever ashram you are in. Shrutigatam. Listen to this wonderful activities. Your respects to descriptions of your personality and activities. To the descriptions of the personality and activities of Lord Krishna. Janma karma chame divyam yo veti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanmanaiti mameti sarjuna. Listening to the activities, listening to the transcendental activities, transcendental birth, transcendental activities of the Supreme Lord, just by listening to that. And dedicating their lives to the narrations. Today, Bhagavatam is a narration of the activities of the Supreme Lord. And it is mentioned, respects to descriptions of your personality and activities, dedicating their lives to these narrations which are vibrated by you. The translation Prabhupada writes, vibrated by you, Krishna. Where he is vibrating? Bhagavad Gita. So listening to the instructions of Krishna, as Arjuna listened, as he understood, as he executed, to the instructions of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, and by your pure devotees, Sukadeva Goswami, Sutta Goswami, Srila Prabhupada. Through Srila Prabhupada's writings, we are hearing. Okay. So just by doing this, you can, what is said is, you can conquer the unconquerable. Ajita Jita. He is unconquerable for the people who are mentally speculating about his existence, form, function, paraphernalia. But he is very much conquerable for the pure devotees, for the devotees. So wonderful it is. So the point here I am trying to highlight is Sthana Stitaha. This point I wanted to highlight here. Okay. Being situated in their established social position, wherever you are. Okay. Put Krishna in the center. Krishna-centric society. Krishna-centric family. Then everything will be perfect. Okay. Now, we have heard from Krishna, from the pure devotee of Krishna, from Prabhupada. Now we'll see what our Guru Maharaj, Srila Sripad, has to say about this. Because without that, it doesn't come to a conclusion. No. So Srila Sripad, in his class on 14th of September 2005 in Switzerland. So it is in that book. You all can go through the book, Sripad in Switzerland, chapter 20, the central truth of life. Under the section, practicing the Krishna conscious culture, Srila Sripad writes, therefore, for this purpose, we do Sankirtana. Whatever one may be doing, one may be a student or one may be a housewife, one may be working in the office, whatsoever one may be, one can practice this in their daily life. Such a practical, this is a practical aspect of Krishna consciousness. This is what is a practical aspect of Krishna consciousness. It is not something away from our life. It is our very life. You can make it a part of our life. Then it becomes easier. Then you don't think that it's an additional job that I have to do. So if you sincerely hanker for such a position, then Paramatma sitting in your heart, who is the next door neighbor of your intelligence, will give you the intelligence how to manage the whole thing. Okay. So Guru Maharaj writes, can practice this in their daily life. One can make it a practical application of Krishna consciousness in daily life, even if one is at home. It is not necessary that one lives in a temple. Of course, if you can do it, then that is also good. But otherwise, practically, practice this in your daily life. Then one will be able to attain perfection when one is practicing this regularly. This is very important principle. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yat karoshi, yat ajnasi, yat juhosi, dadasi yat. Means whatever one does, whatever one eats, or whatever one gives away, Krishna says, Tat krusva madarpanam. Samsiddhi haritoshanam. Tat krusva madarpanam. Everywhere you take Vaishnava Acharya's songs. Shravana Kirtana Smarana Bandhana Pada Sevana Dasya Re Bhajavure Mana Shri Nandanandana Abhaya Charanara Vindare Bhajavure Mana. That's all we need to do. Okay. So, in other words, practical application of spiritual life is to remember the Lord's mercy, knowing that we are helpless without the blessings of the mercy of the Lord. This spirit of humility and dependency on the mercy of Lord is very important culture. So we have to become humble and depend on the Lord, hanker for His association, hanker for the association of the pure devotee. Through their vapu or vani, whatever it is, this hankering will enable us, give us the strength and give us the intelligence to grow in our spiritual life. Culture means something that is very sublime, and by performing this culture, one gets inward peace, happiness, and inspiration. Okay. This is symptom of good culture, Krishna conscious culture. Therefore, Krishna conscious culture, in other words, in the devotional culture, Krishna conscious culture, in other words, in the devotional culture by doing this one, will be able to see the most practical thing. Because suppose somebody is working in the office, very practical, very, very practical, we are presenting Krishna consciousness, Somebody is working in the office, then how do you connect with that with Krishna, with the Lord? But then if you develop to practice this, then it is possible to connect whatever one is doing in relation to serving the Lord. In this way, it is not something extra effort, but it becomes natural. One's mind is already tuned in that spirit or in that cultural mood. Therefore, it becomes a natural quality in every individual. So wherever you are, how does it matter? Once you develop this mood, whatever you do, you are always in that consciousness. Okay. Ante Narayana Smriti. So at the end of life, if one can remember this culture of remembering the Lord's name at the end of the life, then one gets ultimate perfection, the ultimate fulfillment. In that case, coming into this material world, being born here is not wastage. Rather, it is a fulfillment of the perfection of life. This is the result of practicing this culture. Then he talks about Switzerland and all. Such a wonderful message Guru Maharaj is giving. What else we need? I don't have anything else to say. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for this wonderful lecture. Yeah, if anyone is having any question regarding today's class.
Prabhu, your voice is a little bit feeble. Is it my problem? I do not know.
Yeah, if anyone is having any question regarding today's class, they can raise the hand and ask His Grace Mother Krishna Prabhuji. We already have a question by Srikant Prabhuji. Yes, Srikant Prabhuji, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandvat Pranam.
Dandvat Pranam. So, beautiful class. So, this Grihastha Ashram, you have delineated very nicely. We want to understand from you, how do you define the completion of an ashram? For example, if someone is studying in a school, so how do you define the completion of his schooling? Do we define it? So according to you said, seems that as long as he's doing his school studies, it's okay. But then at one point of time, if he does not leave his school and go to higher studies, then will you call this schooling as complete? Are you getting my question?
Yes.
So in this similar fashion, this any ashram, this Grihastha ashram, or for that matter, Vanprastha ashram, so they have a kind of a terminus, right? And so if one does not reach that terminus, then can we say that he's actually successfully executing his Grihastha ashram? That is number one. Yeah, answer this question. I think that is the only question.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for this question. So, your question is just being in that ashram, and executing the ashram's rules and regulations, be it a student life or any ashram, is it sufficient, right, to reach the goal? This is your question, to put simply. Am I correct?
Lifelong.
Lifelong. Okay. Lifelong. Okay. Why not? Why not, I'm saying. So, that is I'm saying. But what the scripture says, once I say I'll talk about Grihastha Ashram. Today is a discussion of Grihastha Ashram. I will not get into student life. You are a better person to give a thing on Brahmachari Ashram, because I was never in Brahmachari Ashram, so I cannot comment on that. But I'm definitely in Grihastha Ashram. I can comment on that. So the Grihastha Ashram, that's what so far what we discussed is the focus, the ultimate aim of conducting all your activities in this ashram should be to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In our case, the spiritual master. By simply doing that, you did not have to put some special endeavor, Otherwise, the spiritual master will say, okay, all of you take up sannyas, or all of you give up your job. All of you stay outside the temple, or all of you stay inside the temple. No. Guru Maharaj allowed, okay, whoever is there, wherever, doing their service. But if they can do the service wonderfully, being there, being inside the temple, being outside the temple, being a student. When some of the professors, IT professors wanted to give up also, but Guru Maharaj just said, no, you be there. Be there and be as a sannyasi. I think you know whom I am referring to. Being a professor, he can be a sannyasi. Sannyasi is not a dress. Sannyasi is is a very mindset. This is, it is what to say. It is the mood, not the mood. I'm not getting the right word actually. The complete, your whole thing, your purpose of existence. Let us take an individual. For an individual, what is the purpose of his existence? To grow in Krishna consciousness, to grow in Krishna conscious culture. If you are really sincerely doing that activity, wherever you are, what is the problem? You will grow. Coming to Grihastha Ashram. The Grihastha Ashram, it is very clearly, when we say ashram, the ashram has certain rules. So we have to go into the rules and regulations of the ashram. Okay? Not a Grihastha like me. But when you talk about the Grihastha Ashram, it should be like an ashram. The home should be like an ashram. Everything, all activities, everything should be like an ashram. What one has to do, what time one has to get up, what all activities he has to perform, everything is there. We have to go into the details of that one. Then it also said that after 50, one has to move to Vanaprastha Ashram and then to Sannyasa Ashram. I've heard. Okay. So that is always there. So if I am claiming myself to be a Grihastha from the ashram, Grihastha Ashram, then obviously I'm going to follow that one. Similarly for the student life also. After being in that thing, you can directly move to Sannyasa Ashram. Okay. So the ashram itself facilitates you. If you are really executing the ashramic rules, you will develop that consciousness that whatever needs to be done to be there, it will happen automatically. Till that time, if you try to, speculate ourselves, being in that ashram, so many speculations can come in. But if you strictly go by the rules of the thing, automatically, you will follow. You will follow whatever is ashram rule, you will follow and you will grow in that one. That is my answer.
So ultimately, we should move from one ashram to another ashram, because ashram means it's a station. And like how a train moves from one station to another to reach the destination. So one should move from one ashram to another ashram. That's what you are inferring. Your grace is inferring, or are you trying to say that just be there?
No, that's what, Prabhu. Being in the ashram, you follow the ashram's rule. If one of the rule of the ashram is after this certain time you have to move, means you have to move.
Yes.
Okay.
But we have to move, right? Otherwise, that's
what I'm saying.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
It means we have to move. Otherwise, that ashram will not be called as a station. It will be called as our chosen spot. It is not our destination, right? It is like it may be called. So,
destination.
So
is
the
one.
conclusion.
Destination is one. The path is, for example, from student life, you don't have to get into the Grahastha ashram. There is another route. You can directly go to Sannyas ashram. For a Grahastha, from Grahastha, he has to move to Vanaprastha. There is no second thought about it. Then he can go for a sannyasa. Can Grahastha directly? I don't know. I mean, you should be telling me, or senior Vaishnavas should be telling me, can a Grahastha directly from tomorrow, can he take sannyasa? No. So there are set rules. Any of that will happen normally. But while being in that position, okay, execute, mold your life in such a way that, you are growing, constantly growing. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyone else would like to ask any further question? If so, please come forward and ask His Grace Mother Krishna.
Please don't take me wrong. I am talking about this Ashram, one should be there only. It's not like that. I am only delineating what is given in the scriptures. That is why I took, what is here. It is talking about the Varnashrama and the ashramas, what they are supposed to be doing, being situated in a particular ashrama. And not to look down upon one ashrama, looking down upon other ashrama, one social order looking down upon other social order. That's not required. Okay.
Yeah, Prabhuji. So I understood it in this way. Like whenever you are situated in a particular ashrama, you do justice to that ashram. That's what you are trying to convey. And when you are in that particular ashrama, you would not look at the other ashram in a inferior way. But in total, like Varnashrama system, if it is saying that it is a continuous journey, then we need to follow the continuous journey. That's what
yes.
the point you would like to convey.
Yes.
Yeah. Fine. And I have two questions, if you are fine, then
yes, one by one. I am very forgetful.
Yeah. Okay. So first one is in some of the texts it is said that either one of the both can do, that is sufficient, and the other person will get the benefit. It might be 50%. So can we understand it in this way also, like Mataji's can do, I mean wife can do, and husband did not do anything?
No. It is not. Let us not draw corollary from the theorem.
Yeah.
Okay. It is said, if both are able to do that, it's wonderful, But because of the psychophysical nature of the women, certain activities can be better done by the male member, So that is also okay. One can facilitate. Now let us look at a situation, practical situation. In this two, among the two, the male member of the family becomes, or something happens, he becomes ill, incapacitated, whatever it is, then what happens? They are executing wonderfully the ashrama. And what happens? She should stop. My husband is not able to do. She will take over. That's the ashrama. Right? So, here, as per the thing, I am not saying, it is what Prabhupada is saying, as per what is given in the sloka, the translation, both can do. There is no discrimination.
I understood, like it is said there, one is sufficient to do. So, as husband can do, wife need not do. She can support husband. That is how I understood. Is it?
True, Prabhu, true. But you see the first sentence. See the first sentence, what is given. Right? Let us read that first sentence. Because sometimes when we talk on our own, then it becomes a bit difficult. (1917). Between the husband and wife, one person is sufficient to execute the devotion service. Okay? One person is sufficient. If required, Prabhupada could have put that husband has to take. Then he goes on to say, because of this. But it doesn't rule out the possibility of women executing devotion service. Right? Because of this, husband can do, wife can facilitate. If husband cannot do, wife can do. What is wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Second question.
Yeah, bro. So my second question is, in one of your statements, you said that we should not go to these material engagements more, rather than we should have as much as spiritual engagements as we can have. So in the Varnas, or in this ashrama system, like there are 4 different ashrams. So what is the priority that we can give where there are more chances of getting into material entanglement?
Obviously, Grahastha Ashram. No, I won't say Grahastha Ashram, please. Correct. I stand corrected. Grahamedi Ashram. A Grahastha Ashram will never have this material engagements. There's a difference. I am a Grahamedi. I am not a Grahastha. When I become a Grahastha, then all my activities will be revolving around, only revolving around whatever I do. I may be earning money. I may be earning more money. I'll give an example. When Srila Sripad came to the housewarming ceremony of this house, there were few people, friends and relatives who had come. If you use this word who are not in ISKCON as non-devotees, then the non-devotees were there, and I was the only person. My wife was also not there. She was having some training somewhere. So Guru Maharaj came, blessed the house, and gave a class. In the class, he mentioned, you all should become Yukta Vairagis. You all can go and check what is Yukta Vairagya means. Okay. So, you all should become Yukta Vairagis. And Yukta Vairagi doesn't mean that you earn less money. You should earn a lot of money and give 50% for Krishna conscious purpose. Okay. You understand what I'm trying to say? The thing is, if you are thinking process, you are earning to support other ashramas. If you are doing that, at least 50% of your earning, if it goes towards other ashramas, fine it is. My spiritual master has given me in writing. No problem. We are Yukta Vairagi. What else I need? I don't need anybody's permission. Right? So to say Grasta Ashram means everything should revolve around Krishna. Otherwise, it is Grahamedi. It is not a ashram. That's what I'm saying. When we talk about ashram, we should go into the details and understand what an ashram means, what are the rules and regulations. So one of the thing is, okay, move to the next ashram. Once you attain this age, you have to move to the next. So obviously I'm going to, but till I move to that ashram, what I do? It's not that I keep doing, enjoying materially all the things, suddenly after 50 I jump. Can I do that or no? Till I'm 50, I should have prepared myself so that I become eligible to move to the next ashram. Vanapastha ashram. Right? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Yeah, we may conclude.
Okay. Thank you so much for your patient hearing. Gandhra Srimad Bhagavatam ki.
One quick question, which shall we take?
Yes.
I don't know who it is. Yes, iPad 4. Please unmute yourself and let it.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Maharaji Dandavad.
Maharaj, Dandavad Pranam. Jai Guru Maharaj. Oh, pleasant surprise, Maharaj.
It's a wonderful topic.
Now take the stick and beat me, Maharaj.
The very concept of varnashram, when we think about moving, we should not be stuck in varnashram. The whole varnashram is a facilitator to attain the param dharma. Varnashram dharma is that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu he said, no, the eho bahya. He said this is external, because the arrangement of varnashram dharma is for the conditioned soul, so that he becomes regulated in his unbridled gratification proclivity. So that is the idea, because ultimately, when moving from one ashram to another ashram, even to sannyasasam also is a regulatory principle. So that we transcend this bodily conception. Only when the bodily conception is transcended, then one has transcended also all the ashrams. But comparatively, when we think about brahmacharya ashram, grihastha ashram, main focus is on the, in the conditioned state, on the grihastha ashram. It becomes, you don't have to create another grihavedi ashram. Grihastha ashram is good enough, because ashram is spiritual cultivation. And spiritual cultivation in the human form of life. We are not talking about the conditioned souls in other species. In human form of life, he can be modified. He can be, he can be educated. So this is the place for educating the conditioned soul to prepare himself for spiritual perfection. Merely taking sannyas, of course, it is. It frees one from so many other entanglements, but still in sannyas ashram there are other obligations, correct? Every ashram has its obligations, and it's like more and more. But to free oneself from, he can devote directly to the transcendental activities, whereas in grihastha he has to taking care of so many affairs, like unlimited affairs, which are not directly, apparently Krishna conscious. In sannyas ashram, in brahmacharya ashram, vanprastha, he can directly be involved in spiritual activities. So I wanted to ask the question, but you smile and just change the mood. But the thing is how you address this for varnashram, ashram. That is the common thing. Ashram, it has to be treated even in the conditioned state, even in brahmacharya ashram also. One should see that yes, different kind of conditioning, because so the ashram is the common thing, and that is what must be. So how you define the ashram? What is the definition of ashram, which is common in all four grihasthashram, vanprastha, brahmacharya ashram? How you define ashram?
Maharaj, with my limited knowledge, it is all the ashram, the focus is the Supreme Lord. The focus is the service to the Supreme Lord. The focus is, serving the representative of the Supreme Lord. If you have taken the shelter, then the focus becomes the spiritual master. Till such time, the focus is on the Supreme Lord and the service to the Supreme Lord. That is my simple understanding, Maharaj.
Okay, one thing which is not common between the three ashrams and grihasthashram, brahmacharya, in grihasthashram, the progeny for the procreation, but that is only to for those who cannot abruptly or who cannot right away give up the and that's why it's a discount given. Ultimately, as the ashram means brahmacharya for spiritual cultivation, place for spiritual cultivation. That's why for grihasthashram, if he indulges only for the procreation, then that is also brahmacharya. So in ashram, brahmacharya has to be, and that's why three ashrams they don't allow association with for this. Only in grihasthashram the discount, and grihasthashrams in Kali Yuga, they take full advantage of it. They never want to give up a grihasthashram, thinking that they are in also a ashram, they are also doing spiritual activities. But mostly, as we know, that the purpose is to disassociate with the intimate association with husband, wife, or anything. So it has to be planned, as our Maharaj says. And when 50 clicks, then comes 51, go to Vrindavan, And how many times it tells you when you are in 50s, go to Vrindavan. 55, 56, 57, 58, You know Hindi, correct?
Yes, yes.
So the whole idea is that moving from one ashram to another means definitely from grihasthashram. The focus is on grihasthashram because it is not said that from brahmacharya you move to grihasthashram. Shastra says don't go into it.
Don't go into it. Yeah.
So moving means bypassing grihasthashram. So in varnashram dharma, the central place is taken by grihasthashram because 99.99 people have to go through, go through grihasthashram. So they have to really move. And that must not apply, or should not be encouraged for the brahmacharis, except for the ladies. So see how scientific the instructions are. It is not said that don't become patni, as we discussed before. But they say don't become mother unless you are ready to take the full responsibility. So moving in grihasthashram means bypassing this, moving the ashrams, means bypassing this entanglement. If you can let go of that by tolerance, if you can let go the upasta vega, the urge for that indulgence, and move and engage directly in the devotional service. And so much is there, The paradox is the 73 ashrams without indulgence, and one ashram 25% time, but people engage more than 75% in grihastha ashram. See the paradox? Only 25% allow for grihastha ashram, but people stay there for 75% of their lifetime. Only the first 25 years, that is brahmacharya ashram, then until death they remain only in grihastha ashram. So how this mismatch of this agenda? That's why our Srikant Prabhu say one has to move. Means one has to leave grihastha ashram, which is very, very difficult. Once you are entered, you are trapped like that. But for brahmacharis, they should move, means they should bypass grihastha ashram. Not move. Okay, sometimes we make a joke. Oh, thank you for promoting, for getting promotion to the second ashram of your life. Means, why are you laughing at him? He got promoted. But that kind of promotion, the Shastras are not encouraging. There is a specific verse in Bhagavatam 11:5-11. Loke vyavaya mishamadya seva nityahi janto nahi tatra moduna. Vyavasthitisteshu vivaha yagye suragrahir asu nivittishta. Ultimate purpose is to free from these conditioned animalistic propensities and to become pure lover of Krishna. So facilitating, grihastha ashram is a facilitator of the 4 ashrams for the conditions. But that should not be taken as a privilege. It is just given a discount. Discount should not be taken as privilege, so that you come out of it. You want to come out of it. You must desire to come out of it. Then God brothers and the people around, you can trust them. You will allow them to pull you out or push you out. That's the only way. Hare.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much. So the messages are very clear. I think there is no contradiction. Those who are brahmacharis remain as brahmacharis. Even I recommend having entered into the grihastha ashram, okay, and try to move to the higher ashram. But those who are taken up grihastha ashram, make it ashram. That is what it is. I forgot to make one valid point. After discussing all these things, I want to say, Krishna says, Sarva dharma parichatya mamekam saranam vrajet. Whatever you think as dharma, varnashrama dharma, any dharma which, give up all those things, take my shelter. So that is there anyway. That is anyway there. So once we are clear in our mind, our ultimate goal, aim and purpose in our life, I think that should, and with the mercy of the Supreme Lord and the spiritual master, we should be in a position to achieve perfection. So this grihastha ashram, I do not know. If you ask me whether I will be able to come out of this grihastha ashram, because for me this one life is only one frame in my lifetime. How much I am condemned to be in this thing, I am endeavoring, but it has also said, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapatyate. To get that intelligence, to understand that Vasudeva is Sarvavati, it may take, life after life. So right now I am in grihastha ashram, so let me get the best out of the bad bargain. That is what it is. So otherwise, Maharaj has given very clear instructions. So those who are not in grihastha ashram can follow that. Those who are in grihastha ashram, yes, definitely, we want to get out of it. There is no doubt about it. the today's context of whatever sloka was given, I was trying to put my perspective into that 2 slokas only. Thank you very much. We are already late. Thank you. Thank you for your Grantha Srimad Bhagavatam. Prabhuji, can we complete?
Yes.
Grantha Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Gurudev ki jai. Nidai Gaur Pramanande Hari Hari.
Hari Hari Bol.
His Grace Mother Krishna Prabhu ki jai. Thank you all for joining. See you all in tomorrow's class. Govind Maharaj ji. You also. Hare Krishna.